Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of the Mario and Chaos Show, episode number 61, if you will. And it feels really good to say those words because we haven't been on in a really, really long time. I'm your co-host, Mario Mancini. I'm a former WWE wrestler and co-instructor at Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling, along with Paul Roma, Big Steve Tracy, and the man behind the glass that's making this possible with the Zoom, the 2020-something inductee into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, because that got canceled, Mr. Paul Perez. Seated in his hometown and not next to me is a man with the back of Seattle Slew. He is none other than a man who's done everything from soup to nuts in this business. He is the guardian of chaos. Big Daddy. Big Daddy, what's going on?
Mancini, let me start off by saying this. You look tremendous. Look what the world of technology has brought us. We haven't posted a podcast or an episode or a show since March 26th when we were on episode 60. Coming to you live, and we are live, from Chaos Headquarters in Mario Manciniville. Mancini, episode number 61. We got a lot going on. I love the Superman shirt, Mancini. What do you have to say about episode 61 and technology?
Well, these are the days of COVID-19, Big Daddy, and this is what we have to do. As you can see, there's a lot of shows on TV, a lot of news shows that have this exact same setup. So we're no different than any one of those, but, you know, episode number 61, season 2.
Season 2. Now, Mancini, you had this planned, but seeing that we haven't been on the air in about a month when we're a weekly podcast, episode 61 is the infamous, or I want to say the famous, Billy Crystal HBO movie about the life and times of Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris in the chase for 61. What an unbelievable movie that was, Mancini. Your thoughts on 61?
Oh, great movie, Big Daddy. And since you got that prick Mets hat on, I put my Yankees hat on. How's that?
Why do I
Big Daddy, you know what people hate, Big Daddy? They hate this. But you know what?
We're usually just audio, and now we're video.
But I
what do you
love
think
this,
people
Big
are
Daddy,
thinking
because the catcher wore the hat backwards. And my catcher is Thurman Munson. So, and it always will be Thurman Munson. So, Big Daddy.
Well, and I want to segue onto something, Mario, since you said Thurman Munson. And number one, where is our producer Paul Perez? Is he wearing that fucking lucha mask? How is it that we
not
are on
today
camera in this new? And he's not on camera. He
actually doesn't have the lucha mask on today. Not today.
I am on camera, Big Daddy.
Where are you, Mr. Paul Perez? Unbelievable! I can't believe.
Did you swipe left?
Let me try this, Mancini.
You swipe left, Big.
There it is. Look, now I finally listen. What did Bully Ray from Busted Open Radio say to me? At least on a couple of occasions that we're well aware of.
You give you 5 spots, you'll fuck up 4.
Right, but I want to talk about this, Mancini, because you have a personal connection, and I will say this, Perez. You look tremendous. Why you ever wore that lucha mask with that nice Myrtle Beach, South Carolina hat on? Mancini, you look tremendous in the photo behind Perez. The Mario and Chaos show. But I want to bring it down a little bit, Mancini, because you have a personal connection. I want to give our condolences and I want to pay our respects. You were talking about the legendary Thurman Munson. We lost a good personal friend, a very close friend of yours who actually inducted you into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2014. And that would be Mr. Howard Finkle. And Mario, I would love to hear a story or two about the Fink, if you will, the outpouring of love. And what I saw online was unbelievable. Stories on Howard Finkle, Mario. I know you guys were very close.
Oh, yeah, we were. There was actually love there. You know, when I went up to the stage at the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, that's what the first thing he said to me when he hugged you. He said, "I love you." I said, "I love you too, Howard." You know, and when I was inducted in the Hall of Fame, you know, Big Daddy, I had goosebumps because, you know, when I got out of the business in '92, while Perez was still rolling out the Wheeling, West Virginia, and I was out,
Not to be confused with Binghamton.
Perez was still in, rolling on the road, you know. So I never thought I'd hear my name. Who's going to think that? Yeah, I'm going to hear Howard Finkle announce my name again. So that's just out the window, right? That's not going to happen again. Well, when he bellowed my name out, it just got me right here, you know what I mean? And I made him a part of my induction speech saying, you know, I had the privilege to be announced by the greatest announcer in wrestling history. You know, I didn't take that for granted because...
And we said this a couple of episodes back, Mario. I'm not sure which episode it was.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was 59 or 60. We talked about Howard's induction of you into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame and how it's out there on All Access Entertainment and it's on the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame on YouTube. And fans, it's an unbelievable speech by Howard Finkle. And then to have him introduce you and then to have him speak about, and fans that are regular listeners here, they know what I'm about to say. And Mario, you've said it several times, but I want to hear it again. Manciniville. Howard Finkle coined that phrase.
Well, you know, he coined that phrase just like he coined the phrase WrestleMania.
Unbelievable. History in the making.
Yeah. So, you know, he told me that he came up with something really good for my induction. And he hoped that I was honored by it and I was pleased with it. I had no idea what it was going to be. He came up with Manciniville. He said, if you were a wrestler coming up and you wrestled Mario Mancini, that just meant that good things were going to happen to you. So in order for you to become a superstar, you had to stop in Manciniville first.
And what a compliment that is coming from Howard Finkle. In other words,
yeah.
and Perez, double P, if you will, agree with me. And can you hear me in the earpiece?
Yeah, you're wearing an earpiece today, Big Daddy. Oh, we lost him. What happened?
I don't know. He's frozen.
He's never looked better, actually.
He's frozen in time.
What the hell, Big Daddy?
You know what he did when he touched his earpiece? He probably hit the. Oh, there it is.
We lost
you. My back, guys. Yeah, you guys froze for a second too.
So,
I'm sorry, Mario, to cut you off, but I want Paul's perspective because he was in the WWF and in 90 and 91. You were there from 84 to 92. When Howard Finkle, because Paul can attest to this, when Howard Finkle said that you had to go to Manciniville, that was actually, as you said before, an unbelievable compliment. That meant that you had to get through one of the most solid, steady workers that's going to make you earn your way inside of Vince McMahon's ring. That's what that meant.
He followed up with that you know, you were going to get a good one. And he said, and he was right. And, you know, Perez can attest how I feel, you know, and even you, Big Daddy, as a manager, I mean, when you left that ring did you take anything out with you? You left it all there. And
Left
that's
it all
what
there, brother.
right, we all did. And that's what he said. He goes, you know, night after night, he left everything he had in the ring. Yeah, result of me leaving everything in the ring. But, you know.
Who are you, Iron Mike Sharp? Is that your tribute to Iron Mike Sharp?
It's carpal tunnel there, Big Daddy. But
Mancini, what would that be from Mancini? No,
no.
No
That's from a lot of. Listen. That's
what are you laughing at, Perez? What are you
laughing at?
at?
That's from a lot of bumps and a lot of powerlifting.
Speaking of bumps, Mancini, I have the ice pack on the back right now. 2 weeks after back surgery, the lower lumbar region, the L4,
Big Daddy,
L5.
Major back surgery for Big Daddy.
Oh my God, Mancini! But that's another.
I thought you just had your cuticles fixed.
Cuticles.
Yeah.
Wow, Perez, you are full of wit and wisdom, Mancini. I still can't believe that we're doing this. We're jumping all over the place, but the main thing I wanted to start off with was you talking about Mancini-ville and how Howard Finkle inducted you into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
The funny
we haven't
part
been on
is,
in over a month.
The funny part is I'm writing a screenplay right now.
How's that coming, Mancini? It's coming along well because I was fortunate enough to read very few pages because you're not leaking it out, and it ought to be an unbelievable story.
I'm up to 1985, and I have 43 pages of a of a screenplay. But you know, it was Howard Finkle outside New Haven Coliseum, and I'm standing by the door where the boys go in, and Finkle, of course, stopped and said, "You know, can I help you?" You know. So in case I wasn't one of those crazy fans that, you know, wanted to stab one of the boys, right? So
I grew up looking over down that. I grew up near those escalators, looking over the overhang, watching the stars come in from the World Wrestling Federation.
Right, and I said, I'm waiting for Tony Altomar. Can I come in? And he's like, yeah, no. So you know, Big Daddy, that was one of the most, probably the most amazing moments in my career, because you went up that first escalator and you hung over the wall. You put your elbows on the wall and you looked across the street.
You're giving me goosebumps, man.
And you waited for the boys.
Really
you waited for the wrestlers to park across the street. And while they were coming in, cheering for the baby face, hoping he looked up and gave you a wave, or booing for the heel. You know what I mean? So when the first time
some of my earliest memories, Mario.
Yeah, the first time I ever parked across the street, and I had the bag over my shoulder, and I did that
across the street.
Yeah, and I did
see,
that.
Both you and Double P made that walk across the street, which is legendary.
We tag team together in the New Haven Coliseum.
I know. Well, that's the one thing, unfortunately enough, that I never had the chance to do, and to listen to you guys talk right now, and to know that two of the guys that I do the podcast is with, two of my brothers, made the walk that I always dreamt of walking, and to listen to these stories right now. I mean,
I'll tell you what, Big Daddy,
that's why I respect both of you so much.
I dropped my bag. And I looked up and I said, "Hey, how you guys doing tonight?"
You kayfabe me again, Mancini.
I just didn't walk and wave. I dropped my bag and I looked up. I did what I always wanted a wrestler to do. All right. I had enough TV exposure at that point. "Hey, Mario, how you doing?" I dropped my bag, looked up and said, "Hey, guys, how you doing? Nice to see you. You know, how you doing? Who you're wrestling tonight?"
And Chief told him, "Shut up and get inside."
Yeah.
Who said that, Perez? Chief J?
The Chief. Shut up and get inside.
Now, I want to ask both of you guys this question, because I was in the Independence, Mario, for years. We worked with a lot of the same people. You've said this many times, but I never worked the Coliseum or signed a contract. You know that. If you remember, and I'm going to go to Double P after this, how many times as a worker did you don the tights and lace up the boots to work at the Coliseum? I'm not going to bring in Hartford or the Garden or the Boston Garden or Madison Square, because that's our venues too, and the Meadowlands. But New Haven Coliseum, because that's where we're based out of right now. Yep. How many times do you think, Mancini?
But believe it or not, I think I worked in Hartford more than New Haven. But I think I worked in New Haven over 8 years.
And now, in that 8-year period, and again, I know fans, I'm asking a crazy question here in episode 61. How many appearances, physical matches, do you believe you had in the Coliseum? 3,
Well,
5,
let me
a dozen?
Let me see. September 11th, 86 was very special.
I have it down here. Don't make me go through my notes, Mancini.
September 11th, 86 was very special because that's when Gino and I went in at 6
Gino
o'clock
Carabello.
to say hello to the boys, to hang around the boys and get some laughs, right? And Skolin saw us walk in, and what a look of relief on his face. And I said, hey, Arnie, what's going on? And he said, they're going to be a half hour late. Plane's late. Everybody's on a plane. I need 30 minutes. And I was 20 years old. So I went, yeah, okay. So Gino and I went out there and did about 25 minutes before the ref came in and said, they're here. You can take it home. And Arnie looked at me and said, what do you have for finish? And that was the night. That was the night when Finkle was 3 feet away from me when he announced me. And you know what? I was a jobber. I am not enhancement talent. I am not a human Viagra. I'm a jobber. So, you know,
although you have been known to give the women female wood, if you know what I mean.
Well, listen, jobbers do not go over. That's not what they're there for. They're there to do a job. All right. And they don't go over. Well, I went over and I sold it. When I saw that in the magazines, I sold it. I said, and I walked around the ring like this, like I couldn't believe it. I sold it. And when Finkle announced my name, he was 3 feet away from me. I couldn't hear him. That the place, 15,000 people were going nuts, and that's when I walked back to Arnold Skolin and that big cigar in his mouth. He's laughing, good kid, good. I'm going to tell Vince about this tonight. Good.
Nice.
And because it was a great match, because I went into the ring, and they announced us, and Gino and I stood about 6 feet apart from each other, and we were just staring at each other.
Would that be social distancing back then?
Right. With our chest, we were just
no such fucking thing.
We were just, with our chests out, just staring at each other. All right. And wow. Gino just reared back and went right in my face. And I went for him, and he went running underneath the rope onto the floor. I chased him. We're going around the outside of the ring. He goes back in. You know what I mean? I go back in.
Like fucking musical chairs.
Right. He starts giving me the boots. He goes to throw me in. I reverse it, give him the old hip toss, 2 arm drags, and a slam, and he screws. He takes a powder, right? So we worked the match. The psychology of the match was really good. Then again, I tell
30 minutes too, man. See, I don't care if you're 20 years old or not, but you gave him a solid 30.
Well, the thing about it is, as I always say on this podcast, and what I tell my students at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, as well as Roma does, is that, you know what? I learned from best. I learned from Strongbow, Skolin, Patterson, Gorilla Monsoon. I learned from the best. So I used that psychology, and it was a great night. But I tagged with Perez in the New Haven Coliseum against.
Well, that's the same question, Mario. That's the same question that I want to ask Paul. Let me bring Double P in on this, because I know he doesn't want to talk.
Twice.
He doesn't want to say a damn thing.
Twice, that was it.
Twice Perez, and one of the times. Now, and then I want Mario's perspective on this, because he said it in the earlier episodes on season 1. Your perspective of what you remember that night at the Coliseum, and one of the few times you were there teaming up with Mario, and then we'll get Mr. Big Time 84 to 92. We'll get his opinion next.
Well, the first time I worked there was incredible, because I worked with someone I grew up watching. That was Jimmy Snuka.
Wow.
So for me, that was like, being a newbie and being in the ring with a legend was awesome. And then, I had just met Mario when we started tag team. When we tagged in New Haven. I showed up at the school and met Mario, and I guess I was doing TV then next week.
Obviously, the Quest facility.
Yes, yep.
This is 91, right?
Yeah, it was hilarious too, because I had the same attitude. Perez comes in, and he's like, I'm a wrestler, and I'm like,
the TV, right?
Yeah, I'm like, come on in. Well, after 20 minutes watching the guy work, with me. I went, you want to go to
Generation
TV?
Listen, Paul Perez, second-generation grappler, trained in his damn basement by his mother and father. But
listen, excellent, outstanding worker, man. Quick.
Perez, what do you remember from that night as you guys were introduced? And was that the infamous night of the fucking Nasty Boys?
Yes. Yep.
Was that the infamous night? I can't believe this story always comes up. I love it.
Yeah, what's it called, Perez? The stinker?
Tell me about it.
The stink face. Yeah.
The stink. I got the stink face.
Yeah.
And that's not from Rikishi. That was the stinker from Knobs and Sags. So out of all the times that you guys traveled and were on the road, and the few times that you happened to be together in New Haven, it was that one match. Fans, it's out on YouTube. It's unbelievable, the Nasty Boys against Perez and Mancini. And I want to go back into some personal issues. We paid our respects to Howard Finkle. So let's get on to a celebration. We're a little late to the party, but I want to give a happy birthday and a big well wishes. And you know he doesn't watch the fucking show anyway. He probably won't now either. Happy birthday to our head trainer at Paradise Alley, and that would be Paul Roma. So
April
a little
29th.
late to the party.
You know, I hung up with him about an hour ago, and I said, it's
How
funny
old is
that
Roma now, Mancini? Because he looks like he's 30.
61.
What? Wow. I listen, I've never seen anything but Perez. You can attest to it.
Yeah, he's got a body and a face of a 30-year-old. But listen,
not to mention the Longini.
I went over the. It's funny because I was up. He started busting because I go, I'm doing my screenplay and I'm up to the birth of Paul Roma. True story. Roma, shoulders like bowling balls. I mean, a body. I still haven't seen a body like that to this day. And you know what? I've seen Flex Wheeler live. It's just that Roma, everything was so symmetrical and everything was so perfect. And the muscular, the striations or whatever they're called on the
vascular. He's very vascular.
Extremely vascular person. So, I told the story, of course, in the screenplay that Roma's first name Poughkeepsie. Roma's not a wrestling fan. He knows no one. All he did was
especially when he got into the business. He had no legacy.
No, he just learned the moves. He knew no one. I mean, even watching Rocky III, he knew no one. So we're in the dressing room. And, I said, just listen to everything they say and you'll be fine. And then Strongbow called me over and he said, Mr. Mancini, come here. And you know why he calls me Mr. Mancini. I always had a habit of being 10, 15 minutes late to the arenas. So he called
just
me
like
over.
You are to the fucking podcast.
Or he called me over.
Same concept.
He called me over one night. And he goes, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure, Chief. He goes, you're late. I said, I'm not late, Chief. I'm on time. It's like 5:15. He goes, yeah.
Hanging out with Herb Abrams?
You're late. He goes, do you know who Buddy Rogers is? I said, yeah, I know who Buddy Rogers is.
Nature
He
boy.
goes, he always wanted people to call him Mr. Rogers. And he was always late. He goes, I hated Buddy Rogers. I couldn't stand him. Do you want me to hate you? And I said, no, Chief, I don't. I don't want you to hate me. He goes, then be on time, okay, Mr. Mancini? And I said, okay, Chief, that was on time from there on. But
and Mancini, not to cut you off, because we're going to get to that, but we've got a couple other notes here. Because when you went like this, I was thinking of something else because I want to bring up Dark Side of the Ring, and Chief J. Strongbow was in the video who actually worked for this gentleman, and we're going to talk about that next. But another very important day that we want to talk about, since we haven't seen anybody in 6 to 8 weeks. Today's May 11th. God bless you.
I just had a COVID sneeze. Go ahead.
The COVID sneeze. Come on, Mancini. We're on May 11th. Perez, when do you think we're going to be on air with this lunacy? I love this.
I don't know.
We'll be up on the air
before the end of the week for sure.
I want to give well wishes. God bless you, COVID.
Thanks. Bye.
In special recognition, another very special day since we haven't been on the air, and we're glad to be back. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, grandmothers, daughters, sisters, all the important women in our life. And And I know, Mario, you're recently going through some very trying times, and I just want to give my thoughts and prayers to your family. Personally, I didn't know if you wanted me to bring it up, so I do apologize about it. But
I don't have a problem,
Mother's
Big
Day.
Daddy. You know, my mom
You could
passed
touch
away.
on that, Mario?
My mom passed away on April 30th. So, you know, it was a celebration for me. Of course, it's my mom, and I'm going to miss her, but I couldn't ask for anything more. I'm 53 years old. My mom passed away at 91. So it's not like,
91 years old,
yeah, so I'm not going to sit here and slam my fist and go, where's the other 9 years? I mean, she did a good job. And I'm going to miss her, and I told her I was going to miss her. I got to tell her everything I wanted to tell her. And I kissed her about 15 times on her forehead, and this was while she was dying in the nursing home. So I went up the day before she died, and she passed away the next day. But
Mario, they let you in even with the COVID-19.
Oh, yeah, I had the mask. I had the mask. I had the gloves. I had the whole thing. So you know, she did a good job. You know, you got to put things in perspective. Like you know, the next day, Friday, I was meeting with one of my constituents in Bridgeport, and you know, he's a very good friend of mine. And I said, Dave, when did your mother pass away? He goes, when I was 12. So yeah, you know, love her. I hope I see her again someday.
You will, Mancini, because you're a salt of the earth human being. Salt of the earth.
She did a good job. I want to. You know, I'm going to tell you. I have to give a shout out because really, what got me through. What got me through my days, and what really, you know, I'm a shitty person when I wake up. You know what I mean? You can't talk to me for like an hour, and it's just shitty. So what I would do is I would just grab my phone and put on Jim Cornette. And I got to give a shout out to Jim Cornette. I met him
Cornette all day.
I met him in 2015. It was really cool. You know, because there's not a lot of people that I haven't met in this business, because eventually they all came. Ric Flair, Harley Race, they all came over to New York. So there wasn't a lot of people I didn't meet. But
you were there for almost a decade, Mancini.
Right. So I was walking toward the ballroom, and there's a big escalator in the Rhode Island Convention Center, and he's coming down the escalator. And I said, well, let me time this so I meet him right at the bottom. So he comes right at the bottom, and I walk up to him, and I put my hand out when you can shake hands. And I said,
now that's gone. Thanks to Dr. Fauci.
Gone. So I go, Jim.
Where'd you go, Mancini?
My phone.
Hey, I've been doing the fist pump thing for 35 years.
A couple bumps. So I said, I put my hand out, and I said, Jim, Mario Mancini. And he looked at me, and he said, I know exactly who you are. So that was really cool. And then we walked, and it was a pretty good walk to the ballroom. That was the night Gene Okerlund was inducted, and I thought I was going to get booted from there because I was laughing so hard. I was bellowing through the whole place because Gene came back after giving a speech, and he sat next to me. And when his ass hit the chair, I looked at his plaque, and I said, pretty nice plaque you got there, Gene. He goes, it'll be on eBay in the morning. And I just started, I lost my shit. I just lost my shit. So it was a pretty good walk to that ballroom, and we spoke, and you know, I mainly spoke about how shitty the business is.
And you listen to Cornette's podcast to this day. Gigi, don't think I didn't see you. I saw you, Gigi.
Listen,
superstar. There she is.
I listen to Cornette every morning. Cornette. Now we're tough guys, right? Especially jobbers, right? Because we take beatings, and just keep coming back, right?
Cornette from the media.
I mean, Schultz broke my nose. It didn't matter, you know. We take a beating and just keep coming back. So, you know, Cornette made me cry because on one of those dark sides. I mean, a teardrop. That wasn't bawling.
Excellent segue.
Excellent segue. It was about Shitstain, and I agree with him. And I'm so Cornette that I don't think anyone who's never had 1 second of experience or has been smartened up or has been trained properly, whether you're going to be a wrestler, a manager, a valet, whether, and has at least paid some dues, has no fucking right in the wrestling business, right?
Well, we go through this even on the local independent level.
Yeah, it's no business in the wrestling business at all. So, you know, when he said it's just professional wrestling, I mean, pro wrestling, you know, it's
and that was
like,
Eddie Mansfield that said that, right? He's the one that exposed the business, right?
It was like me, you, and Perez. I think he was talking about Shitstain, because Shitstain looked at wrestling like Jerry Springer. Pro wrestling is not Jerry Springer. So when I saw the look in Cornette's face, which, listen, you have to be in the business and know the business in order to pick those faces out. And you know, pro wrestling is in the center of his heart, just like it's in the center of your heart, my heart, and Perez's heart. And it just, a lump just came to my throat, and it's like, we're the last of the dinosaurs. You know, I saw an interview with Shawn Michaels, and they said, oh, you had heat with Jim Cornette. He goes, well, it wasn't really heat. It was just a disagreement. You got to change with the business. You got to go with the business. You got to change with the times. And Cornette just didn't want. Well, you know what? That's because, you know why Cornette didn't want to change? Because it works. Okay, it works. Zbyszko,
well, a lot of people think,
listen,
Mario, they think he's a bitter old man. They don't like him in this day and age, brother. And we've got to talk about Dark Side of the Ring.
Listen, you know, the chair to Bruno's head from Zbyszko and a bloodbath on the canvas, that worked.
Yeah.
The coconut, the coconut that snook his head, that worked.
Piper, it worked.
It worked. That worked. You know what I mean? Those storylines and that psychology, it works. It works right down to the heel going into the ring, and maybe you can hear a pin drop, and you go, well, I better do something here. And whether you got a shirt on or a rain jacket, you start unbutton it slow, you open it up, and you start that little shimmy, and everybody starts whistling, and you throw it back on, and you kick the bottom rope if you're the heel. You know, and then you try to take it off again, and then they come up even more, and then you lean over and tell everybody to shut up. That works. It works. Don't fuck with it. It works.
That's why Paradise Alley works. And what I would like to talk about, because we're short on time, and those are excellent stories, Mario. And seeing that we're short on time, we may be able to do this for a couple of days, knock out a couple podcasts. I first off want to give a big shout out, Mario, because we're going to try to hook up with them from the Yes Network, the head producer there. He loves us. John Filippelli, we got to get Flip on. His podcast, Curtain Call, just had Steven Sharippa on. Is unbelievable. Big Yankees guy, all the way to NBC. He worked for Vince in the 80s. And Mario, John Filippelli, we're definitely going to get him on. I will be back this week, fans, Thursday in the 10 p.m. hour for Chaos Corner on the Worldwide Dino Costa Show. Don't forget that. But what I want to talk about now is, and that's why I was talking about Dark Side of the Ring. And neither you nor Romo worked in this last week's episode of Herb Abrams and the Wild, the UWF, and what's coming up tomorrow night is the Road Warriors, who Perez and I both had a chance to work with. But what I'd rather talk about, and we'll save Dark Side of the Ring for our next episode, but fans, if you're not watching Dark Side of the Ring, you are missing out. If you're not listening to Cornette, you're missing out. Go to our YouTube page. People are doing unbelievable stuff on our Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Twitter and YouTube. The videos are coming out from every show. It's unbelievable, and what the Paradise Family work is doing. What I'd like to talk about now, because we've seen it, we've had some empty arena matches that have been unbelievable. They've gotten thousands of views, and they're on the Paradise Alley YouTube site. I particularly want to talk about the street fight between Zafir Al-Rahihi, Maxim Morzov collusion against Jay and Sean Haven. Unbelievable what happened down at the facility. And then also, I've never seen anything like this match. The last man standing between the Intercontinental Champion Bull Dread and Big Jim Anderson. Mancini, those matches that took place down there by the shoreline were unbelievably violent. And can you speak to what's going on? Because Paradise Alley never stops in the world of pro wrestling. We have more matches coming out. Bill Thompson was the referee. El Ref was down there. We want to talk about our wrestlers of the week. But Perez, Mario, can you talk about those two matches that just hit the airwaves on YouTube and Paradise Alley?
Go ahead, Mario.
Well, I don't lie. I never lied I don't lie in general. So I'm going to tell you what I thought of them. I thought they were good.
You watched them?
I watched both of them.
Thank God.
It's my company. Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling is my company. Okay? I own it. So yeah, I watched it.
The federal government said yesterday. No, I'm only kidding.
For the times that we're living in, I thought they were really good. For the times that we're living in the day and age that we're living in.
That's what you're stressing. Okay. I get
thought they were very good for the time that we're living in. Meaning this.
Cinematic?
Yeah, and meaning this. And I would love the opinion like a guy Perez's opinion, number one, but I would love to hear the opinion of a guy like Jim Cornette on this, because I believe that there are wrestlers in the ring and there's a referee, but the other part of the match is
the crowd.
Is the crowd. Okay, so it's not like baseball. It's not like baseball. You can hit a home run and you can round the bases with a pin drop in, but in our business, it's all about, you can't even call them marks these days. We're the marks and they're the ones that are smart, right? So
that's what they say. Am I right, brother?
Yeah, I don't know. So Roma tells a good story about working in the ring, and when he was getting a push and the crowd started coming up, and the guy he was working with, Roma said, okay, I'm gonna make my comeback. He goes, no, not yet, we're not ready. He goes, but listen to him. He goes, no, patience, not yet. So our business is all about bringing, let me do the level, bringing them up, bringing them back down, bringing them up, bringing them all the way back down,
cutting them off, yeah,
then making them pop, right? Then making them pop, bring them all the way up, right? So, it's a rhythm of a pro wrestling match. It's about a pro wrestling match that could be the shits 4 minutes in, and you don't have the crowd at all, and that happens, and you don't have the crowd at all, and you have to shift gears and recreate the match and call the spots right in the middle of it to give it some more gas because you don't have the crowd. There's no gauging that. There's nothing like that.
No, leave that on, man. See, what are you getting? What are you
No.
doing
There's
there?
nothing like that. There's no gauge. There's no gauge. You're just out doing a bunch of moves, and professional wrestling is
it's all crowd reaction.
Right, Perez, and it's very theatrical.
Right, Paul.
So running these matches to me,
but I have an answer for that.
Let me finish.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Finish.
Hey, hands up.
These matches to me are like a movie theater showing a movie with an empty theater. Yeah. So I don't, so again, I'll say, because I love my kids, for the day and age that we're living in, it was good. But there's a strong element missing.
Of course, the fan reaction. Both matches were extremely violent. Okay. Haven went over on collusion. We saw what happened. Zafar al-Rahihi handcuffed Morozov to the ropes and beat him down with a kendo stick. Mancini, there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen between collusion and the pyramids of power. I don't know what's going to happen. First off, Jay and Sean Haven are superstar sensations as far as rookie sensations, and they are on the rise in Paradise Alley in the independent scene. But the bigger story is what happened with collusion and what's going to happen moving forward. And Paul, can I have your opinion on the pure violence of Big Jim and Bull Dread? And is this over, considering they almost put each other into Mancini's Weenies grill and burned each other face? Fans, you can't miss what happened. Your thoughts on Dread and Big Jim? Is this over, Perez?
I think it's over. I think they both got more than they bargained for, and they don't want to open that can of worms again.
Now, your thoughts on what you think is going to happen between Zafar and Maxim Morozov? Your thoughts on what potentially leading into Paradise Alley and what's going to happen between collusion?
Well, I don't think collusion is going to exist anymore after this. And I think it's going to be Maxim Morozov against the Pyramids of Power.
I see a lot of problems moving forward. I want to throw out on Paradise Alley on the YouTube. We recently released the greatest matches in Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling history. Our U.S. champion, Buzz Bloodsaw, has put out some promos, fans, that have to be seen on Twitter and YouTube, especially the one on Danny Adam. Bloodsaw is an unbelievable United States champion. We've had our Wrestlers of the Week, fans. I'm just going to throw down our recent Wrestlers of the Week that have been coming out on social media. The first one, we went from the flamboyant Kenny Roberts, Zach Gibbs. We had Matt DeCourt, believe it or not, the Zebras of Justice, Mark Adam Haggerty, Showtime Marcel Williams, Waves and Curls, Nick Delta, Big Jim, the Haven, Team España, and this week, the Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling Wrestler of the Week, according to social media, is the Red Lion, Chris Battle Mancini. And I want to talk about this. And Paul, I want you to jump in on this because Mancini, you make very valid points about the empty arenas and what those matches did at Paradise Alley and what's happening with AEW and WWE and continuing to do their empty arena shows. Although the regulations have been lifted a little bit from COVID-19, they are going to be doing some live events with it too. So it's the only game in town right now is pro wrestling. And congratulations, they just announced Becky Lynch is pregnant. Her and Seth Rollins are having a baby. So the man, how odd is that? Billy Crystal came true in this. The man is having a baby. How the fuck does that sound?
A la rabbit chest.
Right? Perez! That should be a trivia question. But I want to quickly talk about this, Mancini, because you said about the live crowds, because you can vouch for this because you're a teacher. Perez is a teacher. Roma, you guys are carpenters. For as much as pro wrestling is a crowd-driven sports entertainment sport, I call it, no matter what you want to say it, no matter what pro wrestling fans want to say it, or mainstream media, what we learn from school on up into the major leagues is how to perform in front of empty crowds, empty arenas, doing promos, doing local cable, doing matches, doing dark matches, training in the facility. If any one group could put out a story of an emotional investment, storytelling, capturing a crowd and getting people invested in it and doing it like no other, like almost in a theater, it's the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. Because the bottom line in the MLB, which hopefully comes back, the NBA, NFL, NHL, there's an end result, Mancini, Perez. There's an end result. It's a competition. In the world of professional wrestling, it's about the performance, and that's what you say, Mancini, every fucking week. Perez, your thoughts?
I think it's absolutely true. Not only wrestling, like WWE or AEW, but indies. How many times have we gone out there and worked in front of 12 people in the independents?
I got my ass handed to me. I got my ass handed to me the one night I was in Massachusetts with SD Jones for Killer Kowalski. And it was at a carnival. And they had 2 rows in front of the stage, about 20 people. And I looked at SD and I said, well, we're going to go about 6 minutes, right? And Kowalski was behind me and I didn't know it. And he said, son, whether there's 20 people or 20,000 people, you put in the same effort. I said, yes,
That's
sir.
right.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I'm talking about, and why all these people on these podcasts and all the wrestling fans or people not in mainstream that bitch and moan about the world of professional wrestling, that the people out there have any idea it's a performance, it's art, and it's athletic performance all built into one. And this is what we do in front of no people for your career. So if anybody in any profession could pull it off, it's the world of professional wrestling, and we still keep rolling and going on. Even here in episode 61, what are we going to do, guys? What's going to happen here? I'm so excited here. Even during the COVID, Mancini, episode 61, a Paradise Alley. I mean, what's going to happen? I'm healing up. Can we do this every night, you think? What do you think?
Mancini, every night, big guy?
Mancini, look at the notes.
Well, he doesn't have to work, so he doesn't care.
Wait a minute. First off, I served 25 years behind the walls. And I'm recovering from back surgery. Does anybody give a fuck about that? The third vertebrae in the lower lumbar region, the L4, L5. Mancini, do you have any special messages? Listen, we're coming out of this soon. We're getting ready to lift here in a week or so into phase 1 of this COVID-19. We're living in a much different world. Paradise Alley is going to come out strong. They're talking about maybe in June, baseball camps might open in certain states. Hopefully by the 4th of July, maybe we're playing some Major League Baseball, Mancini.
So, Big Daddy, you think we're coming out of this?
What's going on?
This is what I think is going on. I want
your guys' opinion. Let's not avoid the elephant in the room.
Well, this is what I think is going on. I think that we are done with COVID-19. But COVID-19's not done with us.
Nope.
That's what I think. I think everybody's frustrated. They're burnt out. So they're creating, it's almost like a work. They're selling that, hey, man, the numbers are down. We're going out there. So you know what? There's going to be a lot of casualties.
There'll be a lot of stupid people doing stupid things.
Yeah. Because, not everybody's smart. So there are going to be a lot of stupid people doing stupid things. And, it was just like I was listening to Cornette this morning, and he was in the grocery store. And a guy was like up his ass, and he had to turn around and look at him and go, can you give me my 6 feet? So there are going to be a lot of people out there like that. So, I don't think, listen, are we supposed to hide?
Information's very confusing.
Are we supposed to hide and put our head between our legs and just hide for the rest of our lives? No.
Faith, not fear.
Just know.
Faith, not fear.
Just know there's going to be a lot of casualties.
See, with that being said,
it's like a war. We're going to go out and fight the war.
It is like a war. And Paul Perez works in a very highly technological field. We're not going to give it out. He dresses up almost like he would be taking care of a COVID-19 patient himself. Very high risk job. Paul, what are your thoughts on this, being someone who's so directly connected to pharmas, basically, or just what you do for work? And I don't want to throw it out there, but you're a very smart man. Your thoughts, is this a work? Is this government? We talk about it on Dino Costa on Chaos Corner. We talk about it with...
I don't think it's a work. No, I don't think it's a work. I think
listen, 7,000
the
people
media.
died here in Connecticut.
Yeah, I think the media overplays it a little bit. Not a lot, but they do a little bit, I think. But with relaxing some stuff, relaxing some of the rules, I think people are going to do stupid shit and cause more harm than good.
I mean, coming from 3 guys that are, one who is in law enforcement, one who's in the legal profession, another one who's in big companies, and Roma, who's a legend, and Big Steve himself, who helps out the community and everything from politics to law enforcement himself. I mean, you just wonder, we're educated guys. We have smart backgrounds. I mean, we are America. We are the people. Look at our roster, Showtime, HOP, SARS. We have good people that, the Mendezes. Let's go on and on with just good people that know what we're doing. We're the world. We're the people.
And the Mendezes, and they've
befuddling.
They suffered a loss because of this COVID-19.
Yeah.
I'd like to. I mean, and we're going to keep it at that. We won't give out gimmick names and stuff like that. But I'd like to give my condolences out to them who did. It touched our family that we lost someone to COVID-19. So I mean, this is something that people try to make light of, and we try to make jokes out of, because you try to lessen it. And although we know it's serious, and my daughter works on the front lines in the emergency room, we know that. as a smart guy who's seen the worst of the worst, and Mario yourself too, and Paul, I just don't know where we go from here, but I know it has to be positive and mindful and mental health and awareness and physical health. And we got to come back bigger and stronger. And this is the one thing, this is why we do the podcast, but there's a lot of things going to be happening. We stick together as a family. I think we're going to come out of this. I really do. I believe that.
Eventually, I don't think it's going to be right away, though. I think it's going to take 6 to 12 months. I don't think it's going to be in a couple of weeks like everybody thinks it is.
I think it's going to take a couple of years.
Well, let's get off the subject for a second. How many minutes in are we, Tracy? Do we have time? Does it even matter?
Yeah, give it a couple more minutes. We have a couple more minutes.
Maybe start. Look, Mancini, I'm moving around, starting to wrap it up. Mancini, here it is. We're in mid-May, May 11th. We never give out dates, but we're going to give out the dates. We're in the second week of May here. 2020's been a rough start. We have a lot of positive things to be blessed and look forward to. I mean, we're in season 2, episode 61. We're expanding and horizon. We're going to come out of this. And guys, to wrap it up, I had a great time. I hope we can continue to do this. Give me your closing thoughts, and I'm actually going to be quiet. Look at this. I've been fucking with this all night, Nancy. I don't know what is going on here. Say something funny. Episode 61, the Mario and Chaos Show. I love it. That's it.
I thought Mario was
I
going to
was
wrap
just
up.
trying to make you think I got frozen, Big Daddy.
Hey, what do you think of people are going to think of this? We've never done this. It's kind of kooky. What do you think our fans are? Perez, we got to get the ratings. We got to get the numbers. Everybody wants to spot us, sponsor us. Dino Costa wants to help us out. Scotty Wetzel, Mr. Vegas. Who knows who wants to help us out? Everybody wants a piece of us.
I'm pretty excited about John Filippelli. You know what I mean? He's an unbelievable.
He's in a class on his own.
Well, yeah, he's an unbelievable person.
You know who introduced me to him?
I think he started when I did.
You're right. He did in WWF. You know who I owe this all to, Mancini, believe it or not? My good friend, the legendary, the infamous Dino Costa is the one who hooked me up with Flip. So I owe Dino for hooking me up with a guy that's salt of the earth. Two great guys. Dino is flipped his wig. He's out of his mind, but I love him. And listen, it doesn't get any better than John Filippelli.
No.
Holy Christ, man. Nancy, you realize Bob Costas, Dick Ebersol, the World Series, the Super Bowl, NBC Sports, the Yes Network. I mean, it doesn't get curtain call. Steven Sharippa. Flip on, Mancini.
Big Daddy, you going to come?
You know what? I really had a tough time with that. Do you think any women watch this anymore? Think women watch the podcast? I tried to rub one out. I've been injured. I've been on medication. So, sometimes I don't know what's happening lately. The fucking
Hey, has anybody seen Vince?
I saw Vince McMahon.
Did you see him on the 25th anniversary of Triple H?
No, but I saw him on Money in the Bank, and he had a hand sanitizer. And who was he writing that letter to at Titan Towers? I've been in that lobby, Nancy. How many times have you been to the Towers?
I think he's on his way out. Yes.
How many times have you been to Titan Towers?
Why the fuck am I going to go to Titan Towers?
I've been to New York. Have you ever walked in the building?
Yes.
What a great fucking place, Mancini. Let me tell you something. I'm going to talk about this in Money in the Bank.
Fuck that. I like the little place off Exit 3, Arch Street, Greenwich.
Now you're really
it had
going
a couple
back
of floors. It had a couple of floors. You know what I mean? A little
the ladder matches, Titan Towers, though. It was good stuff, man.
Back in 84. It was good. It was nice. Little mom and pop.
You talked about that.
Vince Senior just passed away. Little mom and pop. I thank God every time that I broke into the business when I did, and I saw everything unfold. July 31st, 84 until April 26th of 92. Last match, Rick Rude, Huntsville, Alabama.
I heard he had quite. Let me not go down that road. So, Mancini, moving forward, is there any offices? It's good to see we're staying hydrated. Is there any news coming out of the front office of Paradise Alley? Any other matches coming up that we're unaware of? Any dates that I know Dieselmania 5 is right around the corner. I know the
Dieselmania 5. Well,
is
you
right
know
around the
what?
corner.
I spoke to the assistant booker yesterday, and we're focusing on October. The assistant booker is optimistic. We're going to try to get a June
That's for the
date
Taco
in.
Fest.
That's the Taco Fest. But I spoke to the assistant booker, and we're going to try to be optimistic.
We'll be
about
good for October.
About
We'll
June.
be good for October.
We're going to try to be optimistic about June and see what happens.
That Taco Fest. Now, what about Dieselmania? Is that October? Or are we gonna shoot for
Again,
September?
I spoke to the assistant booker, and he seems like it's a good idea to maybe move Dieselmania to November or December. Dieselmania 5.
How about that? I was just going to say that. How about that already, Mancini? Dieselmania 5. Think about that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I just want to say this. This is a first experience. We didn't know what the hell we were doing.
That must have been Perez. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life I was told in my ear by a referee. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen, man. Perez, you are the shit. You are the shit, Perez. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be with you next week or in a couple of days or whatever for episode number 62.
Did you see my nipples?
So I feel very fortunate that we were able to get in the Mario and Chaos show. Hopefully this will be up soon. And, Big Daddy, your pecs still separate there. Good for you. Everybody stay safe.
Listen, dude. Listen, I may be hurt, but I'm trying.
Everybody stay safe. Keep your distance. Use your hand sanitizer. Use your Lysol. We don't want to see anything bad happen to anybody. Please stay safe. God bless you. God be with you. And for the people, the 72,000 plus, we've lost more than the Vietnam War.
My condolences.
I really feel bad for everyone. And please stay safe. We'll get through this somehow, some way. Just be smart about it. And we'll see you guys later.
Thursday's Chaos Corner.